Hello, YouTube. I am Kenneth Ryan.
And I'm Linz.
And we're back with another exciting episode of Fanfiction Friday.
Still podcast version.
Still podcasty because I have not invested in a new camera yet, but we're getting there, I promise you. We're picking up exactly where we left off last week in Star Wars The New Galaxy by Cloud 411. And we're just gonna kind of go for, like, an hour and see where we end up. Join us for the ride. Last time, if I'm remembering correctly, he killed a dude, some shitty
and
jock.
He was like, oh my god, I can't be on the dark side.
Yeah, he's basically like, I fucked up. Well, let's see what happens now. Chapter 9, Savior. Mike spent the entire rest of Monday locked in his room, not eating, not drinking, not leaving once. He knew that he had somehow killed Joseph. He knew it, and he could never forgive himself for taking another human being's life.
You're gonna kill people
to defend your family. Like, you made that.
Planned on this.
Oh.
I mean, sure, he was a dick and didn't deserve to die.
But, like...
Just because he was a dick, at least.
But like...
it's not that different from killing someone in self-defense. Like, who's coming at you with...
Right.
Lethal force.
Right.
This dude was trying to beat you up, and you were angry and killed him. Wow.
And also, you have the Force and don't fully know how to control it, so, like, it just got away from you.
Yeah, it's whatever.
You know, like, it's not, like, whatever, but, like, you know, you fucked up, and you killed someone, and that sucks, but, like, he was, like, an unimportant character, right? So, like, your story arc keeps going. His will was vanishing fast. His will to breathe, his will to move, his will to live.
I should just die.
It was vanishing, falling into the dark pit that had formed in his heart.
Mm-hmm.
As it was happening, he was drawing strength from Joseph's fear, panic, and pain. He was feeding off of it, using it to fuel his own power.
So there's Jedi Joe, and then there's Jock Joseph.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
We're following correctly. As the life was leaving Joseph's bloodshot eyes, Mike felt great satisfaction at his lifeless expression. At that moment, the moment of Joseph's death, he was no longer Mike Moore. He had transformed into some form of creature, some other form of being. Darth Salvador, a voice whispered in his head.
Yeah.
You blacked out when he died, so I guess this is like remembering.
After he died.
I guess. Right when his life was getting good, all this had to happen.
No one knows you did it. It was ruled an accident.
Right?
It was like, hey, he smokes. His lungs just stopped working for some reason.
Fucking right? He was finally doing good in school, finally started making a few more friends, and most importantly, him and Brittany were now going out. However,
most importantly.
He's really only thinking with
more
his penis.
More important than school and friends.
I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, alright.
He's a junior, whatever.
However, his actions have threatened all that he has worked for. How could he go on living, knowing that he took a man's life? His guilt was only outweighed by his anger at himself for not being able to control himself. He lay on his bed, curled up in a ball, unable to even look at his reflection in his window.
It's not nighttime, is it? You can't see your reflection in your window when it's not, like, dark out.
You can kind of in the day if, like, you have enough lights on in your room. Like, it really depends. But yeah, I don't fucking know.
If there's a shadow on the outside, I guess, at least. But
his sixth sense went off, but he didn't bother to look. He didn't care who was coming. He didn't care about anything right now. Oh fuck.
Just talk to yourself. You can be Joe too.
You want me to be Joe? I guess you did the last voice, which was the nurse. So all right. Greetings, Mr. Moore. A familiar voice he had only heard once before greeted.
You probably won't hear much from me this chapter, but whatever.
He couldn't help but look. It was the Jedi Joe, standing next to his window.
Joe.
Using the Force, Joe opened the window and stepped through the open window into the room.
So he heard him talking from outside the window?
I guess.
And then he opened the window with the Force. Was he, like, floating?
No, he's standing next to the window. Yeah.
Is he a ground floor?
No, he's upstairs.
Yeah, he's upstairs.
He's standing on the roof, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Because he just jumped out his window last chapter or whatever.
Right.
A couple chapters ago.
Right, no, he's the second floor.
Yeah, and he walked up the stairs after pushing his sister out of the way.
Right. So, yeah. So Joe's standing, Jedi
He's
Joe.
just standing there. Okay.
Forgive me for not knocking first, Joe said, closing and locking the window with the force.
Why would you lock
Just
it?
use your hands.
That too.
Mike looked back at his wall. I know how you must be feeling, Joe began.
How
No,
does
you
Joe
don't.
know that he killed a person?
I just got really old. I'm gonna be old this whole... No, you don't, Mike replied in a low, almost whisper voice. Mike felt Joe sit on the edge of his bed. Do you see the power that Storm offers you now? Joe asked. Mike's body twitched at the sound of Storm's name. The power you used on that boy passed on, Joe began, choosing his words carefully as to not further upset Mike. That is, the power the dark side offers. Death. And only death. No salvation can come from learning that art. Only pain and suffering is found down that path. Pain, suffering, loss, and loneliness. Fear, hatred, anger, and rage. These are all the feelings that will be felt at the extreme by going down the path of the dark side. He explained slowly.
Okay.
All I want... Fuck, I'm getting old. Fuck. I'm the hero. Fuck, I'm not gonna be able to do it. All I want to do is protect the ones I love, Mike whispered to his wall. You can protect them, Mike. These voices are all over the place today.
Yeah.
It's a bad batch of fish sticks. Joe replied, placing his hand on Mike's shoulder. But not through the power of darkness. The power of darkness can only destroy, kill, and maim, he explained. It cannot produce anyone. It cannot protect anyone.
It cannot produce anyone.
But the one who uses it. What's the... Fuck! I'm the fucking hero, man. What's the point of protecting people if it means killing others? Mike asked.
You said you were gonna kill others. That was your entire purpose. Hey, if someone tries to hurt the people I love, I'll kill them.
Why are fanfictions like this? I left my water on the other side of the room, which is a tragedy of all kinds. But like, why are fanfictions like this? Why do characters jump from, they're like, oh, I'm gonna kill people to protect, and then as soon as they do, they're like, oh, fuck, dude, fuck.
I mean, sure, he might not have known what he was getting into, but still.
I get it.
He's acting like he didn't say
right, he's like, I didn't get it. You're protecting some people and killing others. Killing people is not the only way to protect others, Joe replied. You can protect others while keeping the people you are protecting from them alive. That is the Jedi way. The Sith see things much differently, as you already know, he explained. Mike was silent. Darth Strom saw you and your unusually strong connection to both sides of the Force, and waited until you were vulnerable enough to grab and use, Joe continued. I will not try and persuade you to join the Jedi, nor will I discourage it, he added. The choice is ultimately yours, and no one can make that choice for you. Locking yourself in your room, while it is understandable, is only making things worse. The people who love you, your mother, your father, your younger sister, and most importantly,
your girlfriend,
are worried sick about you, he whispered. Seek comfort from them. Comfort no other being can give you. I don't know if Joe's supposed to be old, by the way, but in my head, he's the Obi-Wan of this tale.
I feel like he wasn't that old, but...
Well, he's the Obi-Wan now. He doesn't get a choice.
But yeah, the people who care for you, your mother, your father... I have the hiccups. Your sister, and most importantly, your girlfriend that you've had for a day.
Joe stood up and walked to the window and opened it. I wish you luck, Mike. Wait! Mike blurted out as Joe was going through the open window. Yes, Joe replied, turning halfway around to look at Mike. Teach me, Mike said. Teach me to control the Force and use it to protect people and not to kill. Joe stepped back into his room and closed the window. You wish to learn the ways of the Force, even after what has happened?
Well, otherwise he'll get killed by people.
Yes. I mean, you're right. Yes, Mike answered. I've seen what the dark side has to offer. I want to see the light now. Joe stared into the newly determined Mike Moore. His eyes were lit with the fire of determination, courage, and the drive to protect the ones he loved without killing those he was protecting.
That's worded almost exactly the same as what they said earlier.
The making of a Jedi, not a Sith.
Great.
Joe walked forward and placing a reassuring hand on Mike's shoulder. If that is what you want, I will teach you the ways of the Jedi, he smiled. We will wait until you are well enough to train in the ways of the light and not the dark. He stood up and walked to the edge of the window. Come, he said, waving for Mike to walk over to the window, and in that moment, Mike splooged all over his pantaloons. He used the Force. He said, come. It's a joke.
Yeah, I get that.
Mike slowly made his way to the window. What? He asked. Joe pointed down at his front lawn. I'm afraid I cannot leave just yet. Brittany was leaning against a tree in his front lawn, staring up at his window. Mike stared back, not knowing if she could see him from the edge of the window or not.
If you can see her, she can see you.
That's usually how things work.
So then she can see you're talking to some random dude who just opened your window with his mind in his next sentence.
It's fine. Go, Joe said, opening the window with the power of the Force. Mike slowly walked out onto the outside of his house and jumped down to the lawn. Joe watched as the two ran at each other and gave each other a big hug. He smiled. Mike Moore. He has the potential to become an extremely powerful Jedi, or an extremely powerful Sith, he whispered to himself. He will be a tough one to train fully in the ways of the light, but I will show him the ways of the light side of the Force.
Uh-huh.
From atop a rooftop 6 houses down, Darth Strom watched as Mike and Brittany walked off together into the night. He smiled underneath his hooded face. Oh, this is Darth Strom. You get to speak.
He has tasted the dark side and has become afraid of it. Now he will learn the ways of the light side and realize that will not give him power, and he will eventually come back to me. And the revolution against the humans will finally begin. What? Hiccups. Revolution against the humans? That's not okay. Whatever.
Oh. Well, that was Chapter 9. Oh, shit.
Chapter 10 is long.
Chapter 10. The war begins.
It's like 2 or 3 times the length of the other ones.
Da 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 da. Anywho. Mike was still tormented by the expression on Joseph's face as he died.
I probably should have, but whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you did finish the chapter, so I was just like, oh, that's how we do it.
Usually we switch.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm going.
No,
now.
so you're right, I guess.
That face would haunt him for the rest of his life. But he was with Brittany now. He needed to clear his mind of that, but it was impossible. He wanted to tell Brittany that he was so bad. What he was so bad. He wanted to tell her how different he was from normal humans, that he could do things that many could not even get close to doing.
He's still a human.
But he couldn't do it. He was finally connected to Brittany on an emotional, physical, and intimate level. This feels like a Mike, and Mike is saying it. And he was not going to jeopardize that.
Uh-huh.
Her parents were out of town on business, so Brittany had the whole house to herself. Mike sat on the couch, his face buried in his hands. Brittany had said she was only going to get them something cold to drink. He felt her sit back down on the couch.
Here, she whispered, holding out a cup in front of him. He slowly took it. The cup was ice cold in his hand. He took a sip of the ice cold liquid. It was Coke, his favorite drink. He felt her
he's
arm.
boring.
Yeah. He felt her arm go around the back of his shoulders. It's okay, she whispered, putting her head touching his. His death was an accident. Nothing anyone could have done. Don't beat yourself up like this. That's not what she sounds like, but okay.
Yeah.
Outside in the streets of Riversville. What? Okay. I didn't realize it was called that. I knew it was River High, but Riversville?
Riversville.
Under the cloak of darkness, jet black vehicles pulled into the town. They split up, heading down several different roads. Black Hummers and black cars made their way down the streets. A Hummer pulled up in front of a house, quickly followed by several other black cars. Black-suited men got out of the vehicles and walked up the walkway to the porch. They keep walking up walkways. It was always Brittany's house, usually. Oh,
right.
Maybe not this time.
It's not.
They knocked on the door, and a middle-aged woman answered.
Yes, she answered. Can I help you?
Miss Moore, one of the black-suited men asked.
Yes, Mike's mom answered. Can I help you? She repeated. The man held out a badge.
NSA, Division 7. We need to speak with your son, Mike Moore, he answered.
What is this about? She asked.
That's classified, the man replied. If you do not let us in, we'll forcibly enter your house. We wish to do this as discreetly as possible, ma'am. Well, by forcibly entering a house.
I guess. Oh my gosh, you are
Several
suffering.
black-suited men marched into the house, a few of them carrying electric rods. Is this a different
You
one?
can just say it.
Search for the boy! One order.
Do you want to, like, pause so you can deal with hiccups?
Nah.
Okay.
Oh, apparently the younger sister's name is Stacy. Did he
Stacy's
call her that in the
mom's
last one? I don't think so.
No, his sister. He just said sister. Oh, fuck, what did I do? Mom! Stacy said, walking into the room. What's going on? A device attached to one of the men started to beep rapidly. He detached it from his waist and looked at it.
Which one? The first one?
Yeah.
We have another Force user, the man said, indicating the young girl. Wow, she is the Force too.
Oh?
Carry out our orders! One of the men ordered
Oh.
another.
I see.
The man activated the electric rod and walked towards Mike's younger sister. Mike and Brittany lay on the couch together, her arm wrapped around his chest, his arm wrapped around the back of her shoulders. Mike suddenly hears screams inside his head. Oh, they're connected by the Force.
Yikers.
His hand flies to his forehead, and his eyes clench shut in pain. Voice screaming in pain. He knows those voices. He jumped up off the couch, and Brittany falls to the ground. What's wrong? She asks, getting up. Mike dashes at the front door.
Oh. Stay here! Oh, fuck. Stay here, he yells. Fucking Christ, I can't... The hero voice. Gold. Fucking gold. He yells, throwing open the door and running down to the street. It couldn't be, he muttered to himself as he turned down the street next to the one he lives on. It just couldn't be. As he's running, he looks up into the night sky and notices a helicopter flying overhead. It's obviously painted black to blend in with the night. The only distinction is the noise of the helicopter. If it was silent, then it would be completely invisible in the night sky.
Okay.
Cool. He rounds the corner of the street and sees his house, and makes a final mad dash towards it. He flings the door... Ooh, fuck. The door open and is frozen in the doorway. His mother lay on the ground, not moving. His father lay on the ground a few meters from her, not moving. He rushes over to his mother. Mom! He screams as she lifts her head up. Mom! Oh, the hero's tragedy. He receives no reply. She's not breathing. He looks over at his father. He's not breathing either. Stacy, he mutters, remembering his younger sister.
Okay.
Ah, how could I forget my sister? Stacy! He runs through room after room downstairs looking for his sister, then runs upstairs. He sees her lying in the middle of the hall. He sprints to her side and kneels down beside her. Stacy! He whispers slowly, moving to touch her face. He could feel his eyes burning, and tears begin to slide down his cheeks. He hears someone running up the stairs, but does not turn to see who it is. He is looking at his dead younger sister.
Why'd they make that one more dramatic than the first two?
Aww.
It's like, hey, it's his dead mother. Hey, it's his dead father. He's looking at the body of his dead younger sister.
Man. I don't know, 'cause she is...
What the hell happened here? Brittany yells as she reaches the second floor of the house. Didn't you see the first dead people?
Yeah, didn't you see the dead
She
people?
freezes when she sees Mike on his knees next to his younger sister, crying. She slowly walks towards him. What's going on? She asked as she knelt down beside him.
The Guardians, he whispered, more to himself than to Brittany. He started sobbing so hard he can barely speak. Damn them! Why did they take them away? He slams his fist next to his sister's body. Damn it!
Thump.
Brittany pulls Mike close to her and wraps her arms around him.
We need to get out of here and get help, she said, lifting Mike to his feet as tears start to roll down her cheeks as well. How can she lift him?
I don't know.
He's just kind of kneeling there.
She's got the Force. Yeah. Everyone's got the Force.
Yeah. The sound of the front door downstairs being kicked in and smashing against the wall freezes Brittany's movement on the second floor. She's helping Mike move, who clearly has lost his will to go on for the moment. She would get him out of here and get help. She could hear footsteps coming up the stairs. She turns and walks to the end of the hall, still holding Mike up, his arm wrapped around her shoulder. She hears a shock behind her and turns around. There's a man in a black suit walking towards them with some type of rod that is emanating electricity.
Target located, the man said into an earpiece in his ear. Back at point A. Suddenly, a man in a black robe came smashing through the door that led into Mike's room and kicked the black-suited man through the wall that led to Stacy's room. He ignited a red energy sword of some kind and turned and walked towards Brittany.
Drop him, Darth Strom told Brittany. Drop him or die. He pointed his blade at her.
No, Mike replied, regaining his composure and standing up on his own. They came in 3 days like you said they would, he said to Storm.
Oh, hey, it's in 3 days. It's still you. Oh, maybe it's still me.
No, that's Storm. That's Storm.
Yeah, it's me. Okay. They realized that their comrades who came here to kill you before were dead after they didn't report back within 24 hours. And it took them 2 days to send someone.
I guess.
Now they're all over this town, Storm replied. They'll be all over this house in about 30 seconds. You're too important to our cause for me to let you die here. Come on, he ordered.
She comes with us, Mike shot back. Storm glared at him.
A normal human, he asked.
They will kill her if we leave her here. She may not have an affinity for the Force like I do, he replied. But they will kill her just for being friends with me. I won't let her die like my family did.
What's going on? Brittany screamed.
I'll explain later. God. There's no God, but... Mike replied, grabbing her arm and pulling her towards Storm. But first we need to get out of this town. Do you trust me? He asked her. After a moment, she answered.
Yes.
Then please come with us, he pleaded. He held out his hand. After several seconds, he put her hand on his.
Fine, Storm shot back in a sour tone. If she must come for you to come willingly, then fine. Stay close. Storm led them to the hole he had made in Mike's wall.
Well, yeah, he did do that.
Burst through the wall and then kick someone else through a different wall. Remember what I taught you about controlling the Force. Use that to increase your speed and to keep your fatigue at its best. What?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, keep your fatigue at its best.
Storm said to Mike, Get out of the town. I'll distract them. Mike picked up Brittany and held her in his arms.
Are we gonna have like a Twilight moment?
Tightly around. Hold on tight, spider monkey.
Well, he fucking like races through town and she's just on him.
Through the woods or whatever. Doesn't he call her spider monkey though?
I don't know. I don't remember Twilight that well. I just know that's a moment.
I feel like it's just a thing that someone has made fun of in Twilight, that he's like calls her spider monkey while she's holding onto his back.
I would believe it. I would.
He leapt out of the window and using the Force made a massive boost down the street.
Yep.
Storm watched as he vanished into the darkness of the night and leapt down to the lawn. Several black vehicles began to squeal to a stop in front of the lawn. He let them all come to a stop and let the Guardians get out of their vehicles. His yellow eyes scanned the electricity rod-wielding Force user wannabes.
Alright,
enemy. That was a description.
Newbie.
He brought his red blade up in a defense position. Come on, normal humans. What? He taunted them. Okay. Come on, normal humans. That doesn't sound like that much of an insult, honestly.
I guess it is. I guess the Force is a big deal.
Where was I?
That top.
Oh. Several Guardians ran forward, wielding their weapons. Their weapons clashed with the red lightsaber blade of Darth Storm's weapon. Storm blocked, parried, jumped, and rolled out of their attacks. As he went on the attack, he twisted and twirled around his opponents, throwing them into confusion. Using that confusion to his advantage, he started chopping them down. Legs fell to the ground. Arms still holding the electric rods fell to the ground. Blood pouring out of the dismembered body part. Doesn't it cauterize?
The lightsabers are so hot, it cauterizes immediately. There's no blood.
Yeah.
There's no blood from a lightsaber.
No.
They don't know they don't know they're fucking Star Wars ones. That's all I'm saying. Fake fan, alright?
He blocked bullets as they came flying from the helicopter above him. Wow. The metal bullets disintegrated upon contact with the lightsaber blade. Can't they make bullets that don't disintegrate?
I don't know.
If they have their sword things, they should be able to make bullets too.
Look, man.
He backflipped to the top of the house and reached out with his left hand. Calling upon the dark side of the Force, he crushed the top propellers of the helicopter and brought it smashing into the ground, where the Guardians' vehicles were parked. One by one, the vehicles exploded in a brilliant display of fire and smoke. He jumped from rooftop to rooftop as he made his way towards the edge of the town. Does the Force do that?
I don't know.
They do some pretty elaborate fighting, but they don't really jump that far, I don't think. They don't, like, fly.
No, they don't, like... Well, they kind of do.
Maybe.
Man.
I guess, whatever. Edge of town. He was brought to a stop by a figure ahead of him.
Oh my god.
Darth Palin?
Is this a woman? Is this a man?
No, dark-skinned male with white hair.
Okay.
So it's a dude. You can do him.
We meet again, Storm, a heavy voice said. The figure walked into the moonlight. God, the Sith Lords are all so extra.
They really are.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, Jedi Joe is like floating outside the window and then opened it with his
People
mind.
with the Force are all so fucking extra.
Yeah.
He walked into the moonlight. The figure was a dark-skinned male with white hair. He was wearing a black leather suit that covered his entire body and had bright red eyes.
Okay. Darth Palin, Storm said. You traitorous fuck. Is it Palin?
I wish it was Palin, because then Sarah Palin, but yeah.
Palin ignited his red-bladed lightsaber.
I merely decided to play on a different team, my old friend, he replied.
No matter, Storm said with a grin. We've already found who is going to replace you. Palin's eyes widened.
Replace me, he repeated. The most powerful of the Sith.
You're not the most powerful anymore, Storm shot back. We found someone who has far more potential than you.
You lie, Palin replied. No one is stronger in the dark side than I am. Not you, not anyone else in the Sith Order.
That was true, Storm replied, still smiling. But not anymore. Palin lunged forward and the two red blades clashed with a sizzling, crackling noise.
I always hated your lies, Palin said as he spun on his heel and kicked Storm in the side of his chest. Storm stumbled backwards. This is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's 58 chapters, so I'm sure we'll get plenty of backstory. Maybe, Pallet Town got turned into a slave camp again. Maybe that's his story. That was still the wildest flashback sequence ever.
Yeah, and then there was like a flashback within the flashback. And,
right?
And it's like, the timeline was all weird. It's like, hey, I was this age, and then this happened, and then like literally 2 years later, this happened, and then like a month later, this happened. It's like, no.
It was bizarro.
If this concentration camp thing happened like 2 years ago, people would remember who Team Rocket was.
Absolutely.
That was the worst part of it. That no one.
Yeah,
knew
no
who
one
they were.
remembered like these horrible, horrible people. And it's like no. They would have a day dedicated.
They were public and powerful, and yeah.
Yeah, right. Storm stumbled backwards, but quickly regained his footing. He could hear another helicopter coming in the distance. He didn't have time for this. He had to see to Mike's safety. Mike was the key to winning the rebellion against the normal humans. He couldn't be allowed to die. Not yet, anyways. He charged forward, holding his blade so it carved a line in the roof as he ran. When he was just a few meters away from Palin.
Ballin.
He jumped over him and, summoning as much of the dark side as he could, unleashed it in a massive force push that caved in the roof Palin was standing on and threw him into the house. Deactivating his lightsaber, Darth Strom used the Force to give himself a boost as he exited the town. Mike was resting next to a tree several miles out of the town's limits. Brittany was against the tree opposite him.
What the hell is going on, Mike? She asked. Tell me.
I'm not fully sure myself, Mike answered truthfully. I know actually very little about the situation I've been dragged into, he admitted. What I can tell you, and what I know for sure, is that I'm not a normal human, and those men are out to kill people like me, he said.
What's gonna happen now? She asked, fighting to hold back her tears. That's your first question?
I guess.
Hey, I'm not a normal human, and they're trying to kill me.
Look,
not
man.
normal how? Who's trying to kill you? What's gonna happen? she asked, fighting to hold back her tears.
Oh, we can't go back to Riversville ever again.
Ever again.
He answered her in a low, regretful voice. I'm so sorry that you got dragged into this. He started to cry again. I didn't mean for you or my family to become part of this. He struggled to regain his composure. When we get very far away from here, I'll make sure we leave you somewhere safe and that you have enough money to live. Then you will never see people like me again.
What kind of...
He said in a low voice.
He have that he was going to give her?
He was hit in the head with a rock.
Ruh-roh.
Ow!
Idiot! She yelled as she walked towards him. You were just going to drop me off somewhere?
What kind of anime-ass interaction is this?
Yeah, here, just throw
This
a
is like
rock
the
to
scene,
it.
she throws the rock, she puts her hands on her hips, and she has like the tit jiggle, and like they get like a boing noise because that's the kind of fucking anime
Yeah,
this
okay.
is. You know?
Yeah.
I watched High School of the Dead recently.
Yeah.
That's what I'm used to.
You did.
That would be the safest for you, he replied.
If I can't go back to Riversville, then you're the only family I have left, she screamed and fell to her knees. That wasn't a scream, but I'm not going to redo it. She could no longer control herself. She broke down and started sobbing and crying. Mike crawled over to her and pulled her into a tight hug. She cried in his chest.
I guess you get to be this, young man.
Ooh.
I don't
okay.
know. But, like, I did Paladin,
I don't know what kind of voice to do. So you're Darth Strom's little interest, eh? A voice asked behind them. It's just gonna be my normal voice for a random guy. Okay, cool. Mike's head spun around to look where the voice came from. A young man, probably about 20, stood against a tree. He was wearing a black robe. Other than that, Mike couldn't make out anything else through the limit light of the night. The young man walked towards them and held out a hand. Come on, stupid ass. We're not far enough away from the town. The Guardians will follow your force trail to here, he said in an irritated tone. Force trail? And how can they follow it? They're normal people. They don't...
They have the beepies.
Uh-huh.
The beep,
Mike
beep, beep,
picked
beep.
up Brittany and held her in his arms again. He stood up and looked at the young man. And it begins, the young man commented as they started walking through the forest area they were in.
What begins? Mike asked, walking and still holding Brittany.
The war, the man answered.
War?
The war between the Force users and the normal humans, the man answered again. What you just saw, the massive invasion of your little town that has basically ignited the flames of war. Welcome to the world of the Force users, a never-ending battle for survival.
The war begins.
That's the name of the title. I mean, the chapter.
The name drop shit, Mike muttered to himself.
Things will get much nastier from this point on, the man went on. Things will get a lot bloodier. More battles and many more losses, he added. I'm gonna take you back to the Sith compound. They can't follow us there. Try and keep up. The man flashed forward using the Force to increase his speed.
Hang on, Brittany. Soon we'll be somewhere safe, he whispered, as he used the Force to boost his way forward.
So he's just going with the Sith people now. They're like, hey, no, I don't want to go with you. I'm training under Jedi Joe right now.
I guess not.
But nope, I'm gonna go with them. Why not? Let's just go to their compound, and they're not gonna hurt me.
I guess, yeah.
Or trying to be a Jedi.
Mike and Brittany's lives they lived up until that moment were over. Now they lived a different life, and Mike knew that now, no matter what the cost anymore, he needed to be able to protect Brittany. She was all he had left in this world, and he was not going to let her go. Joe and the Jedis did not understand his need to protect Brittany. Even if he must see more people like Joseph die, as long as she was safe, he would be able to endure it and grow from it.
He just flip-flopped back to the I'm willing to kill people to save these.
Frustrating!
Yeah. Hey, I was just traumatized literally this morning, but I'm fine with it now. I can do it again just to save Brittany.
I'm about to sneeze. Please.
Bless.
Thank you. Chapter 11. The opposite. You can start it.
Joe walked down the corridor in the cave, passing other Jedi as he made his way deeper into the maze of corridors and passageways, his brown robe billowing behind him as he increased his walking speed. Darth Strom had made off with Mike, something that the Jedi did not need. With Mike with the Sith, they could bring about their rebellion and take over the human race, as they had been playing for centuries. Planning, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
If Mike truly did fall to the dark side, then they needed something that could fight him equally once he reached his full potential. None of the Jedi in the Order could fight Mike equally once he reached his full potential. However, there was one hope. One single ray of light in the ever-looming darkness that slowly engulfed them. One person who could fight him, and he was on his way to make sure she was recovering well. Is his sister alive?
Oh my god, is that the twist?
Oh my god.
Is Mike a Sith and his sister's a Jedi, and holy fucking wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Several Jedi bowed as he made his way past. Out of all the Jedi Order, Jedi Master Joe, as he likes to be called, is one of the most skilled Jedi, and one of the only Jedi Masters. The Guardians' move on Riverville was not unexpected, but the timing was unexpected. It was inevitable that they make a move on the town to kill Mike, but the timing caught Joe by surprise. Yes, that's what unexpected means. If he had known that they would move this soon, he would have brought Mike back to their hideout with him, but he was unable to foresee their timing. That's what unexpected means!
Unexpected!
They just said it 3 different ways. In that
Fanfictions
paragraph.
are really good at repeating themselves,
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Some of them. The ones that we pick.
These are all ones that
I mean,
I've just been picking.
Yeah, so the ones that I picked in the beginning were ones
Better.
I usually liked. Then we kind of...
I like
fun
just
of them
reading
too.
random ones. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's fun. There's a lot of content out there in the fanfiction world.
Yeah. He stopped in front of 2 doors that sealed off a room at the end of the stone cave corridor he was walking down. He pushed the 2 doors open and stepped into the room. The room had been fashioned into a medical room, with medical equipment around the room and several gurneys put out. There was a young girl on a gurney in the middle of the room, they just said room like 4 times, with Jedi on all sides of her using the Force to heal her. Joe stepped forward and looked at the girl.
How is she? He asked the Jedi around her.
She's recovering fine, thanks to the Force, one of the Jedi answered.
She's lucky we found her in time, another one said. If we'd been a minute later, there would have been no hope to save her. If Mike falls to the dark side, the only one who'll be able to fight him equally is one of his own blood, Joe said, staring at the girl.
Maybe like,
Stacy.
hey, your sister's alive. Don't be a douche.
Stacy, his younger sister.
Yeah, we
Lucky
got
for
that.
us, him and the rest of the Sith believe her dead. Let's keep it that way until the last possible moment, he added.
Lucky for us, he thinks she's dead.
No,
Maybe if he didn't think she was dead, he wouldn't fall to the dark side, huh? How about that?
Listen, I don't
That's
know.
some stupid reasoning.
The Jedi nodded their agreement and resumed their focus on healing her. Joe sat down in a chair across from the gurney that Stacy was laying on.
Can you just use the Force to heal people?
I guess. A Jedi sat in the chair next to him. It's named Crystal, so you can be it.
Okay. So Joe, the young Jedi said, what now? That was a weird word.
Well, Crystal, Joe replied, the Sith will now groom Mike to fight their war that has now been started. The Sith had secretly waged war against the normal humans for many centuries, but they've stuck to the shadows and rarely actually showed themselves. He paused.
That's what secretly
That
means.
will change now. They will start a full-scale war against the normal humans, and when it comes down to it, we are the only ones capable of defending the normal humans. We are their last hope, he added.
Whenever they say the normal humans, it's like, okay, whatever.
Look, man, the
Too bad
normies.
they don't see it that way, Crystal replied. We'd be able to defeat the Sith quicker if normal humans would just accept that there are people who use the Force for good and not evil, she explained in frustration. They're too blinded by their own jealousy. Joe laughed.
Jealousy, he repeated. Is that why you think the normal humans are hunting us down and killing us? He asked.
Why else? She asked.
Fear, Joe answered. It's normal. We fear what we don't understand. It's a normal human reaction.
Hey, the bugs.
They fear the Force and all those who use it because they don't understand it, he explained. Fear is what drives them in killing all Force users, whether they be Jedi or Sith.
But what are we going to do? She asked. We can't just watch them as the Sith move on the normal humans.
And we won't, he replied. They have their trump card, and we have ours.
What if Stacy doesn't want to help? She asked.
She is one of pure heart, he answered.
Seems kind of annoying, honestly.
She'll help, I'm sure of it.
Do we tell her about her brother? She asked.
I'm still debating
Yes!
about that. Fucking people in power keeping secrets only makes people be like, I'm going to the Sith because you're an asshole.
Pretty much.
You didn't tell me the truth. You're a dick.
Yeah.
I'm still debating about that, he answered, placing his finger on his chin. For now, when she wakes up, keep that secret a secret. If anyone will tell her about Mike, it'll be me, he added.
Oh, it's me. All Jedi and Sith are now human. Why do they hate the normal people so much? She asked. I just don't get it.
Because just as the normal people hate us, the Sith hate them out of fear, he answered. Crystal swung around and looked at him with a surprised expression on her face.
The Sith? Afraid of normal people? She repeated. I don't believe that.
The normal people right now outnumber all Force users put together.
Times like a billion.
He explained. They have more numbers than us, and their technology is constantly evolving. They now have a device that can detect influxes in the Force and pinpoint the origin of the influx. Basically, they can track all Force users by where they use the Force, he continued. The Sith are not afraid of the normal humans as individuals, but as a group of people. They fear them because of their numbers, he added.
That makes sense, I suppose, Krista replied with a sigh. But she's just a young girl. 13 years old at the most, she added.
Even younglings must fight during war, Joe admitted. It is an awful truth, but a truth that must be faced nonetheless.
They have Mike, someone who is more attuned to the dark side than the light now, she said. And we have the opposite, Stacy, someone who's more attuned to the light side.
Things are going to get much darker from this point on, he warned. Things will get darker, deadlier, and bloodier. This is now a full-scale war that will engulf this whole planet, he added.
Okay.
And we are the only people who can truly protect the normal people. That is our mission during this war. Save as many lives as possible.
Right, Crystal replied.
That was it.
Yeah, that's the end of chapter 11.
Right.
Opposite.
Guess we're moving on. Whatever.
Sure, we can do that.
Oh, good.
It's a bit longer than some
Yeah, we'll be alright. We're only at 40-some minutes.
Yeah.
Chapter 12. Together forever.
Oh, great. It's going to be Brittany and Mike.
I know. Mike sat by the bed that Brittany's resting in, his face buried in his hands. It has been 2 days since his family was killed, and his life was destroyed. The only thing that he had left in this world, Brittany. And he would never let her go. I'm sorry, I got tripped up by the grammar, but that's how it's written.
Yeah.
The Guardians had killed his mother, father, and younger sister. He hated them, despised them, detested their existence. Not only had they destroyed his life, but they've ruined Brittany's as well. She can never go back to her hometown.
Why not? You're not going to go
never
back.
see her family again.
It's not like she's going to be using the Force and they won't track her.
Right, but she's in a relationship with Mike, which means that I guess she's tainted.
But they won't know that she's back unless they're like keeping track of.
That's true. I don't know. They're together forever because they love each other a lot.
And also, who knows that he took her with him? Didn't Darth Strom kill that one guy?
I guess. I don't fucking know, man.
Couldn't they have just left her there?
He's being an angsty teenager.
Oh, whatever. Okay.
Oh, fucking no. Not, never see her family again. Her life that she lived 2 days ago was now over. He couldn't help but feel a level of responsibility for taking her away from her life. If he had left as soon as those Guardian guys showed up the first time, then maybe she would still be in Riversville with her family, having a fun time and living her life.
And your family would be dead still because they'd find your sister.
That's true. But he let his selfishness take over, and he decided to stay with her in that town. His decision has changed their lives forever. They were now dragged into a war between Force-sensitive humans and normal humans. No matter how much he tried, he could not get the dead faces of his family out of his mind, especially his younger sister, Stacy. She was only 13 years old. She didn't deserve death.
So, Crystal is good at guessing. 13 at the most, or whatever.
Yeah,
she's 13.
Guess. The young Sith who had met Mike and Brittany outside of the town led them back to the Sith compound. As soon as they got there, Mike demanded that he take them to a medical room where he could lay Brittany down.
Why does he need a medical room? She's not hurt.
Well, she had been unconscious for over a day now.
Okay, I guess.
I guess she's stressed. She was breathing fine, and overall she was healthy, but Mike suspected that her will had almost vanished. In one night, her whole life changed.
She seemed fine. She's like, hey, take me with you. You're my family now.
Oh, well, now she's dying, I guess.
No, she's like unconscious because her
she's
spirit is broken. Okay.
The life she had led for 17 years destroyed in one instant. Thank you. You said that about 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
He never left her her bedside for 1 second, always waiting for her to wake up. I swear, he muttered through his hands, I will get revenge for what they've done to her life, he swore. They will all pay, and I will see to it. He felt a warm hand grab his.
Oh, look, she's awake.
He opened his fingers to look. Brittany's eyes were open halfway, and she was staring at him, her hand wrapped around his. He removed his hands from his face and grabbed her hand with both of his. Are you feeling okay? He asked, knowing it was the stupidest question he could ask.
Yeah, she answered in a very low whisper. I'm fine.
I'm so sorry, he said, tears rolling down his cheeks. I'm so sorry, Brittany. She reached over with her other hand and brushed her hand against his face.
It's not your fault this happened, she whispered. Don't blame yourself. That's a different voice. She added, Where are we? She sat up in her bed slowly.
The Sith compound, he answered.
Sith compound? She repeated, confused.
They're a society of abnormal humans, he said slowly.
Abnormal? What do you mean? She asked, what do you mean?
They have the ability to tap into something called the Force, an energy that is all around us, but only certain humans can use the Force. He tried to explain. The Force allows you to do things that many would call abnormal.
Okay. There you go.
Huh?
Stop scrolling down too far. Okay.
I can't help it.
But why are we here? She asked, still confused.
Those people who came to Riversville, the people who killed my family, he said slowly. They were looking for me.
No shit.
Brittany stared at him.
Why?
Because I'm a Force user, he answered.
And I'm a Force abuser.
She was silent. The Sith are not the only society of Force users, he went on. There's another society called the Jedis. They believe in universal peace and the greater good. The Sith believe that peace is a lie, and that any form of peace can only be achieved through power and strength, he explained. The Sith are hunting down the people who are out to kill the Force users, an organization that calls themselves the Guardians. Their goal is to kill all Force users, the Jedi and the Sith, he continued. That's all I know.
So, Brittany replied, you're going to join this Sith society? She asked.
They offer power. Power the Jedi can't seem to push out. Power to eliminate the Guardians before they kill off all Force users, he answered. So yes, I'm going to join the Sith.
I see, Brittany replied.
I want you with me, he said, pulling her close. I want to be able to spend the rest of my life with you. I don't want to lose you like I lost my family.
I don't want to lose you.
She placed her hand on his face.
You're all I have left, Mike, she replied, moving closer to his face. That's a weird noise, okay. We'll be together forever. Her lips met his. Maybe like, hey, this doesn't seem like a great idea. Maybe join the Jedis.
Yep, but like, whatever.
But no, we'll be together forever. I'm gonna just follow you along on your really stupid idea.
Basically.
Darth Strom walked up to the massive gates to the Sith compound and banged his fist hard against it. The gate slid open so he could gain entry. He stalked past many black-robed Sith members and strode into the compound. Why couldn't he have just used the Force to open it or something? I don't know. Whatever. And how did they know it was him and not, like, the other guy who's the traitor?
I don't know.
Whatever. He turned down several halls, not stopping, not slowing, and not acknowledging any of the Sith who bowed to him as he walked. He stopped outside of a room, and using the power of the dark side, this time he uses it, threw the doors open. "Mike," he said to the man on the other side of the room. Mike turned and looked at Storm. "What is she doing here?" he demanded. "Answer."
I was not going to leave her, Mike shot back.
Sometimes they don't use contractions where they should use it, where it seems like they should use contractions.
Yeah.
But other times they do, so it's not like they just don't use it at all.
Listen, man.
Like, they'll say don't usually, but I will not, I cannot, I was not.
Look, man, they're trying.
So "She's a normal human," Storm replied. "Her kind are trying to kill all of us Force users. She could easily betray us to the Guardians and the rest of the normal humans." He unclipped his lightsaber from his belt. "I cannot allow that." Mike jumped up.
Here's the deal, he yelled. Storm did not ignite his blade. It's obvious you really want me to join you guys, he stated, and I will join the Sith, but under one condition. Storm could feel his own anger rising.
"What condition?" he shot back in a dark, menacing voice.
She stays here with me, he indicated Brittany sitting on the bed, and no one is to touch her. If anyone does, I will leave.
"I will burn your compound to the ground, how about? But I'll leave.
More of a threat
If
next
anyone
time.
touches her, I'll leave." It's like,
Please, more of a threat next time. Storm could feel his anger now at its peak. P-E-E-K. This boy, who had little skill in the Force at the moment, demanding a deal with him, a Sith Lord. But they could not lose him to a Jedi. Mike was the key the Sith needed to ensure victory in this war. He took a deep, calming breath and clipped his lightsaber back to his belt.
"Fine," he shot back. "However, if she betrays us in any way, she will die, and you will watch it," he added.
I trust her,
"Is she going to
Mike
betray
replied.
the Jedi?
So I accept your end of the deal.
Ow, my knuckle. Come then," Storm indicated the door he had threw open. "Your real training in the dark side of the Force begins now, Salvador." I wish they would have
Dolly.
forgotten that.
Bum bum bum.
Bum, bum.
What's gonna happen next?
Sound like one of those radical skateboard announcers.
Look, I was going for that, so like, thank you, I appreciate it. Oh man,
So a lot happened.
the war has begun. People are dead.
Maybe try and find Mike and tell him his sister's alive, and tell his sister that, hey, your brother thinks you're dead, so he's joined the dark side.
They're keeping it a secret to the last possible moment.
They're gonna meet in combat and be like, "Oh my God, you're alive, brother! I didn't know you were
Sister.
there."
Yeah, it's gonna be some wild shit like that.
And it's gonna be like, okay.
Well, I don't know, man.
And Mike just said, "I trust Brittany, so I accept your deal." So Brittany might betray him.
I was hoping she would die.
Honestly, maybe.
But, like, we'll see. There's a lot of fic left. Anywho, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe.
Down below.
And if you have a fic you would like us to read on the show, leave it as a comment down below. We'll look at it. We'll read it on the show more than likely.
And eventually we'll get video back, unless you think that we should just not deal with that.
I mean, I'm all for, like, whatever.
I mean, yeah, it's probably nice to be able to see our expressions sometimes, but if you think it's better this way, feel free to express your opinions.
Yeah!
We will take them into consideration.
And remember that you guys are awesome, and until next time, stay awesome. Read more of that smut, and we'll see you for more of this.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.